Let's take a look at a realistic price prediction for Bitcoin in 2026. Let's broaden our time horizon a little bit. We've been very short term at trying to understand what's going on with this World War III dilemma. Now, obviously, Trump has negotiated a ceasefire between Iran and Israel. Thank God, no death. And also, of course, this is good for asset prices in the market. So we're going to go through all of that and also the future. What is Bitcoin going to look like? We have a price prediction of about $300,000. I don't know if that's perfectly accurate, but I'll give you my thoughts. By the way, if you want to get access to this Bitcoin prediction chart, head on over to coinpixedu.com/data and you could just have it. So Trump negotiated a ceasefire and they've been really back and forth about planes being in the air with bombs and things like that. But I do believe that he did negotiate it and it's probably going to stop the war with Iran and Israel. Obviously, I think it's true and I believe it. So I just want to put that out there. There's a lot of rumors on the internet. And immediately the price of Bitcoin pumped about 8%, which is obviously very good because we did break below the 100K psychological level. So this is kind of important. I'm not going to lie to you guys. This was very strategic. Clearly, Trump doesn't want the market to fall. He's doing whatever it takes. And it's actually very similar to some of the action he's taken with tariff policy. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Trump originally put big tariff policies on Mexico, China, and Canada, and it caused the price of Bitcoin to drop by 26%. Literally, this was the exact day he came out with these massive tariff policies. And as you can see right here, he put a pause on the tariff policy. He's like, oh, wait, hold on. The market's dropping a little bit too much. I'm going to pause it for a 90-day extension. Now, it just so happens to be that 90-day extension is coming up July 8th and 9th. So on a short-term time horizon, guys, pay attention to what he does with tariffs. It will affect the market because as soon as he put the extension in, the market pumped. Very similar to what's going on right now with the war. The war went on, market dropped, then Trump fixed it, market pumped. It's very closely tied to what Trump is doing and his success. But if we broaden our time horizon, we're going to do a Bitcoin price prediction on two variables. Number one, time. How long is it going to take to get to the peak? And number two, of course, price. And the first thing I want to look at is time. The first cycle, it took 378 days to go from the Bitcoin halving to the top. Second cycle, 518. Third cycle, 546. If you take the growth rate, which is a mathematical formula to predict the next line in the sequence, you could see potentially it'll take probably 550 days to reach the top. And that exact date is right over here. According to that statistic, we're looking at October of 2025, maybe end of 2025, beginning of 2026. We'll see the top of Bitcoin, but I don't think it takes in consideration interest rate policy. Now, you should probably really write this down. We have never experienced a cryptocurrency bull cycle where interest rates were high and then started falling. Write that down. This is very important because every other cryptocurrency bull cycle, we had interest rates low and then it started increasing. As you can see right here, the bottom, federal funds rate. This is the interest rate policy, and I'll explain it very soon. But as you can see, we are very low on interest rate, and then it rose to about this point. And then when it dropped, that actually marked the bottom of Bitcoin. As you can clearly see, big bull run, price going up. Now, there's other reasons for a bear market, which is isolated to Bitcoin. But when it comes to the broader macro perspective, we always had either low interest rate or the Federal Reserve has been increasing. As you can see right here, the last cycle, we had low interest rate and the Federal Reserve was increasing to about this point right here. If I kind of scoot it over for you guys. Now, right now, we are, in my opinion, in a cryptocurrency bull cycle, but we do have the dropping of the interest rates, as you can clearly see here. It could be a long thing. We don't know for sure, but we have never experienced a bull cycle. So a couple conclusions you can draw from that. Number one, we're doing really good. It's kind of crazy with high interest rates. The price of Bitcoin is doing amazing. And number two, maybe we can expect a longer, instead of 550 days, instead of the bull run ending towards the end of this year, beginning of next year, maybe if they drop interest rates, which we're going to talk about in this video, we can have an extended bull cycle, which I do believe might actually happen. It might not be 550 days. I think it really could be beginning of 2026, middle 2026. It could even go a little bit further. Let me explain. Interest rates are the cost to borrow money, and 89% of all of the money in our current system is based off of loans. So when you get a car, you take out a loan. When you get a house, you get a loan. There's a lot of loans, business loans. 89% of all of the money in our system is based off loans. So when the Federal Reserve drops interest rates, this usually stimulates the economy. This is why we have such a predictable chart when it comes to lower interest rates. So the question is, if the Federal Reserve towards the end of this year, which the Federal Reserve clearly showed, if they start dropping interest rates slowly but surely, this is new liquidity and new hype that can be driven into the market that can extend Bitcoin's top. Now, let me be clear. Bitcoin is being integrated into the current system through the president and through a lot of different vehicles that we have never had before. So this crypto adoption is on this max potential. Like, this is what I've been praying for the past 7 years being in cryptocurrency. So yes, I believe that also adds to the case. I really do believe there's a good chance we could have an extended, Bitcoin bull cycle, cryptocurrency bull cycle in general. So yeah, I'm thinking beginning of 2026, midway through 2026, listen to what I'm saying. So that's kind of like that perspective. The prediction on time is beginning midway through 2026. Now let's look at price. Let's look at a conservative prediction. And it's kind of interesting. It's really interesting. But let's say hypothetically, we look at Bitcoin, we look at from the bottom to the top, how much percentage increase, right? So for example, the reason why I took out the first cycle is because the first cycle was crazy. It was kind of unrealistic. As you can see, the percentage increase on the first cycle was like millions of percentages. And yeah, I mean, that's insane, 7.4 million. So I kind of took that out. I looked at the decay rate from cycle number 2 to cycle number 3. So cycle number 2, we had about 11,000% increase. Then we had about 2,600% increase. We found the realistic, I believe it's more of a realistic decay model. And what's really interesting about this model is that it's saying that according to the next number in the sequence, according to that decay rate, we have an all-time high of $106,000 Bitcoin, which is super interesting because that is what we've been fighting. We've been fighting that literally almost identical price level for like the past couple of months. This has been Bitcoin's top. So it's like that blew my mind when I saw that the decay rate lined up perfectly. But after what we just said with interest rate policy and all of this institutional demand, I do believe we will exceed this level eventually. So if we look at some other models like the logarithmic regression, you see that it's saying 299,000. I don't know if that's true. Take that with a grain of salt. But logarithmic regression is basically a model that's been used to kind of like weigh out the tops of Bitcoin's price, Bitcoin rainbow chart, logarithmic regression. It's a very consistent model, so let's see what it's saying. So this is the model right here. As you can see, the red is the upper band, the green is the lower band. It's kind of like the bottoms, and as you can see, it kind of plays out. It's not perfect math, obviously. Nobody can perfectly predict the future, but it's something that's been used consistently. So as you can see, first cycle, this was the top. It got past this kind of like dashed line. Then this one reached the top of the line, the bands, right? These are regression bands. And then right here, we hit it twice, right? So again, pretty consistent. And if we look at where we're at now, well, we are actually very undervalued, to be honest with you guys. We are not even close. This is undervalued. And this is saying, like, again, just to be clear with you, if we just hit that dotted line, we're looking at almost $300,000 Bitcoin. Now, what's interesting about this is that we're at 100, that's a 3x. So we have a 200% increase on Bitcoin. If that does happen and a momentum comes into play, Federal Reserve drops interest rates, I mean, altcoins are going to go crazy. If altcoins had a mini altcoin season on Solana and Base like a year ago, Bitcoin's at 100K with high interest rates, basically just survived like the biggest panic of World War III that we have had in like a very long time. It survived it. It broke below 100K briefly, but it survived it. Well, this could be really, really good towards the end of this year. And I'm not just saying that. I actually feel that towards the end of this year, beginning of next year, if they keep dropping interest rates, which brings me to my last point. If they keep dropping interest rates, it can be really, really lucrative for cryptocurrency. Watch what I'm saying. The Federal Reserve just had an FOMC meeting where they kept interest rates the same from 4.25 to 4.5. They just kept it the same. They've been doing this for a long time, just keeping it the same, which is what we projected. But they gave us clues that maybe they might lower the interest rate towards the end of the year. They didn't give us exact dates. Nobody wants to look at the economic projections. They actually make projections and they clearly put it on the economic projections. As you can see right here, the projections for the federal funds rate are the value of the midpoint of the projected appropriate target range for the federal funds rate, or the projected appropriate target level for the federal funds rate at the end of the specified calendar year over the longer run. So right here, as you can clearly see, they're saying 3.9. It's currently at 4.25, and they're saying maybe towards the end of the year, we're going to probably be at 3.9. They're clearly saying it. Again, just to be very clear with you guys, we have 4 different FOMC meetings. This is the official event where they change the federal funds rate. They're saying towards the end of the year, 3.9, and we're at 4.25 to 4.5. Now, again, Trump himself has been saying, please, Federal Reserve, cut interest rates. He's been tweeting it all over the internet. He's been fighting with Jerome Powell for a very long time about this. Everybody has been waiting for it. So from a liquidity perspective, obviously we talked about credit expansion. We need to see credit expansion before we have a big altcoin cycle or a lot of hype. We need that. That's good. Dropping interest rates, more liquidity, I get it, but the perception is also really good. Everybody's going to be extremely excited about this. So they're putting it in their projections, right? They're putting in their projections towards the end of the year, 3.9. They should be cutting it by 0.25 basis points, which will give us liquidity. So if you combine everything with Trump really pushing crypto into the government and all these systems, with a potential credit expansion from the Federal Reserve, and at the same time where literally Bitcoin only broke below 100K briefly, and we had a potential World War III and everybody was freaking out. Very resilient crypto, very resilient crypto. This could be a storm for us to make a lot of money off of altcoins. So pay attention, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. I'll catch you in the next one.